Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Benanin, and for today's video we're going to be doing another sunscreen review. Today we'll be talking about the Trader Joe's Daily Facial Sunscreen. It's a broad spectrum SPF 40. It is oil-free, invisible gel formula, fragrance-free, and water-resistant for up to 40 minutes. This is their newer sunscreen launch from this summer, and supposedly it's supposed to be like a dupe for the Supergoop Unseen, and kind of like a black girl sunscreen, make it matte, but more matte than that one. So I picked this one up from Trader Joe's. You get 1.7 fluid ounces, and at the time it was retailing for like $8, $9. I'll put the price up here on the screen if I can find my receipt for it. And the active ingredients in here are avobenzone 3%, homosalate 12%, octosalate 5%, and octocrylene 6%. The first portion of this video is going to be like the normal way that I do sunscreen reviews. I'll talk about, you know, the ingredients, the finish, the formula, how it looks on bare skin, on moisturized skin, and with makeup. And then the second half of the video, I will kind of do a side-by-side comparison of when I reviewed the Supergoop Unseen, let you know if it truly is a dupe and if it's comparable in that way. Let's start out talking about the claims and what's in here. The first two ingredients are I'm not even gonna pretend to say those two ingredients, but those first two ingredients are what's gonna give the texture. So the texture of this is a very smooth, silicone-like finish. It kinda, when you take it out of the bottle, it kind of looks like a petroleum jelly, sort of, and then it rubs in pretty clear. It also contains some shea butter in here, so nice and moisturizing. And they claim that this is fragrance free, and I would agree with that. Specifically formulated for quick absorption, leaving behind a soft and silky matte finish. Well, I'd say that it's semi-matte actually. When you first put it on, and you guys will see in the clips that I insert later on, it does look matte, but then when you wear it for a little bit more, it becomes more of like a semi-matte. So not like truly matte, but it does have like a nice silky, smooth, it makes your face look just like seamless, and truly feels like a primer in my opinion, kind of like the Unseen. The first day that I wore it with no moisturizer, just on bare skin. I put a pretty decent amount on here and rubbed it on my face. Honestly, when I was spreading it on my face, it felt like there was nothing going on. Like it was hard to tell what areas I was covering and what areas I missed, because it just feels like a silky feeling all over. So most sunscreens, when you put it on, it starts out white, so you can kind of see how it covers, and then it blends in like smooth. This one goes on clear altogether. So I rubbed it in on my face and neck, and you can hardly tell a difference. Looks like I don't have anything on, which is great. Felt very moisturizing on its own, and I would definitely be able to wear it like this, especially in the hot summer days. So I wore it for 2 hours and came back, and this is what it's looking like. Keep in mind, I have oily, acne-prone skin. It is the middle of summer. I believe it was like 90 degrees out this day, so you're going to see my oily T-zone popping out. That's normal for me, but that also means that this sunscreen isn't really like oil controlling for us oily skin people. I went ahead and blotted, and reapplication was pretty easy, pretty seamless. The next day I wore it with a moisturizer, and personally I don't think I needed a moisturizer with my oily skin, but I wanted to test it out for you guys just to make sure that it wasn't going to pill up or separate or anything with other products underneath. So I wore it with a very lightweight moisturizer, and then I applied the sunscreen on top of it, and it looked really good. I think this is a great way to wear it if you don't necessarily like a semi-matte finish and you want more of a glow. Put your moisturizer underneath and you can get a little bit of that glow as well. But it did apply nicely with other products underneath. I didn't have any issues with that at all. So I came back after 2 hours, and you'll see I'm a tad bit oily in my T-zones, but everywhere else looks flawless. If you're looking at my jaw and everything, I went ahead and blotted and reapplied, and it wore great. It looked great. I also want to note that in the video, it's gonna look like I was oilier on my no moisturizer day, but I really feel like that was just because I was outside more on that day than I was on the day that I wore it with just a moisturizer. And then the next day I wore it with makeup. It wore nicely as a primer underneath makeup. My makeup went on pretty smoothly. My powder sat nicely. It doesn't look cakey or anything, so I do like the way that it wears with makeup. So not in my bathroom lighting, but as you guys will see in some natural window lighting in my car, my skin looks a little bit oily. Keep in mind, this was not 2 hours later like I usually do. I think this was like 4 hours later. So, but like my makeup stayed. It didn't move around or anything. Those are all the clips of what it looks like. So my overall thoughts on this Trader Joe's and comparing it to the Supergoop. As far as the ingredients go, they are very similar. The Trader Joe's and the Supergoop have the same ingredients: avobenzone, homosalate, octisalate, and octocrylene. They just have varying percentages. The inactive ingredients are also extremely similar. The Trader Joe's has fewer ingredients, I think, but the first two, as you'll see, they're the same thing. Ingredient standpoint, they look extremely similar, and they're, in my opinion, pretty much the same. From a price point standpoint, the Supergoop one retails for $36 for 1.7 ounces, whereas Trader Joe's you get 1.7 ounces for like $8–9. So that's a pretty big difference there. As far as accessibility though, Supergoop, you can get it on their website, you can get it at Ulta, you can get it at Sephora, I've seen it on Amazon, but Trader Joe's, I've really only seen it in Trader Joe's. So if it's not really accessible to you, then obviously go with the Supergoop instead. Both of them are SPF 40 and they both are fragrance free. They don't smell like anything. They are also both water resistant for 40 minutes, so that's great. I think that as far as the finish, they both have that satiny velvety finish to it. In my opinion, the Supergoop Unseen is even more matte than the Trader Joe's. When you put it on, it really does blur your skin and gives you that nice, very smooth base. Trader Joe's also does that, but it does it in a way that it's a little bit more moisturizing, and it does leave a little bit more of a residue than the Supergoop does. When you come back after a couple hours, the Supergoop feels better than the Trader Joe's does. The Supergoop feels like there's really nothing there. It's completely dry, whereas the Trader Joe's, you might get that, you know, you might touch your face and be like, oh, there's a little bit of oils there, interesting. So when I'm recommending sunscreens in the future, I feel like I will recommend the Supergoop Unseen for people with oily skin, like really oily skin, because it just blurs everything so great. Whereas the Trader Joe's one, I feel like I'd recommend it to people who don't have like super oily skin. You might be oily, but like if you're like kind of oily, normal, even dry, I feel like you would like the Trader Joe's better as far as how it feels. Yeah, and they're both pretty weightless. They both reapply nicely. So they're very, very similar. There's only like very minor differences. If you want an affordable option, definitely check out the Trader Joe's Daily Facial Sunscreen. If you have the money to splurge, or you don't have access to the Trader Joe's one, or if you have even more oily skin, then I'd say stick with the Supergoop Unseen. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that's a good like comparison and wraps it up nicely. It makes sense in my head, but sometimes, you know, I rewatch these videos and I'm like, what were you saying? That does not make any sense. But I hope that makes sense to you guys. If you have any more like specific questions, or if you have tried these sunscreens and you like can explain them better to people, you know, let us know in the comments. That'll be all for today's video. Don't forget to leave your sunscreen recommendations down in the comment section below, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!